Okay, I'm going to give this a try. It's been a while since I did a screen share conversation, so we're going to see how this goes. But yesterday something happened, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit just because I was at an office, I was at an appointment, and I was talking to this gal there, and she gave me this suggestion that I should do a YouTube video on this conversation that she and I were having. And I thought it was a great idea. I can't believe I haven't thought of it before. So I thought I would go ahead and try to do it today because it's a really interesting conversation to have. But before that, no, we did not get the gear out in the dome over the weekend. My husband was printing some things. He was printing feet for the tripod, and he did some measurements wrong, so he had to do some reprints. And so he was messing with stuff. So he finally got everything. I helped him carry stuff up from out of the basement. So it is on the floor, all pieced out right here in the family room, ready to go outside. So yay. That's going to happen very soon. Another thing that happened, I don't know how many of you have watched my video about the horror Disney deer dog encounter that we had here a couple months back. Well, it was a little over a month or two ago. And the neighbor's dogs behind us jumped into my neighbor's yard here and viciously attacked this poor helpless deer that already had a busted leg, and it was a whole nightmare. It ended up being this whole thing. That was the day I had my MRI on my shoulder. So that was just like the second week of March or something. And anyway, on Sunday, one of the dogs, there were two deer in her yard again, and one of the dogs got in our yard, didn't get over there, got in our yard, was going berserk on it, barking and going nuts. The vicious dog that did the attacking last time stayed in its own yard. But the two deer over here weren't helpless. They took an opportunity when the dog kind of looked back at something. They bolted. They jumped over this fence. I've never seen deer run this fast. They bolted through our yard, jumped over this fence, and the dog chased them. And the poor thing ran face first into the chain link fence over here. So I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot have these animals getting hurt all the time anymore. My husband and I talked about it. We decided to go ahead and put a few phone calls out there and get some people from some companies to come by and give us some estimates on what it would cost to get this fence in the back taken care of, hire wood, privacy, all of it. Keep the dogs from even being able to see if there's deer over here. And last night around 6 o'clock, I had somebody from a company come to give us an estimate. And while I was in the backyard talking with her, my husband comes walking in the backyard with these two people that I didn't know. And I'm like, this is odd. So I stepped away. I'm like, hold on a second. I got to find out what's going on. And it turns out that they are the neighbors behind us. And they want to contribute to the problem, like in a good way. They want to help with finances for this. They're going to have their own estimate done tomorrow. We're going to come to the table and come to an agreement. And everything was fine. Everybody was nice. Everybody was civil. Because I just told them, I said, my blood pressure can't handle when this happens. Like I panic. It puts me and these animals can't go through this anymore. And so I think they understood that it's nothing to do with them. And something happened, like they've lived there for 8 years. This has never been a problem, but something happened that started this whole thing. And that does fall on us a little bit. We had all of the trees taken out in the backyard. One, because they are a liability. They were getting so huge and they were encroaching on other properties in a way that if we had a really heavy spring snow and branches broke and blah, 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 and came down, that we could have had some big damage that we would be liable for. That was the number one reason. The number two reason was we have two observatories. The last thing we want is trees. And we already have enough trees that aren't even in our yard to fight with for shooting space. So, but unbeknownst to us, when we had those trees removed, it gave the dogs back there a perfect view. It opened their view up, and now they can see. And that corner back there where they're coming into is also, at the same time, slowly kind of sinking down, getting lower, just because of the way that the water runs when it rains, just like natural causes. So some of this just couldn't even be like foreseen. And that's totally fine. But So we've got some things going on. We're hoping to get this taken care of in the next 2 to 3 weeks at the very latest, because I can't even explain to you how much I can't do this anymore. So those are the three main things that we're talking about. But this has nothing to do with the conversation that I wanted to bring up today, because this conversation is something that I actually can't believe I haven't talked about on here, with this being the Bipolar Astrophotographer page and talking about mental illnesses. But where I went yesterday when I started talking to this gal who gave me this idea was my pain management clinic. And I've been going to this clinic, I think it'll be 5 years this fall. I have a neck injury, and it was actually from a manic episode. It happened back in 2015, right before I went to the, well, not right before, but like 4 months before I got 5150 and went to the psych hospital. I was having full-blown mania. I had no idea. I didn't know what mania was until after the hospital and the diagnosis. And I injured my neck, and like, just, I was so tense, and I remember like rocking back and forth. Like, I'm not going to do it now, but I was like that for a day, and I did it to myself. There's no good, like, I didn't have a good story. I wasn't skydiving or, racing motorcycles or something cool. I did this to myself in a panicked, manic episode. And I had it addressed. I went to a clinic first that they wanted to do. What did they do for me? I know they gave me muscle relaxers. They didn't do anything. They didn't help. They made me tired, I think, but they didn't really help with the pain. And then they did radio frequency nerve ablations, which I don't know how many of you have had those, but they don't last. Like, you never know when it's going to wear off. I think my first one lasted like 9 months. I think my second one lasted like 7 months. And they seem to be getting shorter lasting every time I would get it done. And then it got to the place where I was trying to get in with this clinic to set up an appointment for a radio frequency ablation or anything, and they weren't answering their phones. Like, I couldn't get through to anybody. So I gave up on them. I'm like, forget it. If they're not going to advocate for me, then I'm just going to have to do it myself. So I got on my phone and I started looking up pain management clinics that accepted my insurance near me. And the first one, believe it or not, that popped up had great reviews. So I thought, well, I'm just going to start at the top of the list. I'm going to work my way down and see what I can find. And so I started with the top one. And I went in. My radio frequency ablation was still intact, but I could tell like it might be kind of any day, week, or month that it was going to start wearing off. And so I wanted to get established because I didn't know what to do. I needed to get established with another facility. So I went in and I talked to the owner of this facility. She's great. And she said, well, now that we've met, we had our whole like appointment. We talked. It was like a 30 or 45-minute appointment. We went over everything. I think she may have ordered a new MRI for me at that time, because that's just kind of standard practice. If you have an MRI that's older than like 3 years old, you have to start over. So I think I may have done an MRI and did all the, went through all the hoops I needed to get through before this ablation was just going to wear off and I was going to be in trouble. Well, so that was like September that I had that appointment. The following December, it was after Christmas, I was starting to really go downhill. I was having a lot of trouble. And I remember trying to like wait it out. I think I had an appointment scheduled for like the 7th of January, and I was trying to get to it. And it was after the new year, and it was just like the first few days in the new year, I was in so much pain. I could not drive my car. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And my mom said, you just need to go to like urgent care. And so I actually called the new pain management facility, and I asked the medical assistant. I said, I am in so much pain. I don't know if I can come in today. Like, can you squeeze me in? What do I need to do? And she agreed that I needed to go to urgent care. So off to urgent care I went. And I'm trying to not be too long-winded about this because I want to get to the point of this video, but I want to kind of give you the lead in. And there is a lead in here for me. So I went to the urgent care. They started me on a nerve pain medication, and they ordered physical therapy, and I think they gave me I can't remember what all. They may have given me a different muscle. I don't remember, but those were the two main things I remember. They gave me a nerve pain medication and they ordered me to go to physical therapy, which I was fine to do. So I started taking this nerve pain medication. Then I went and saw my new pain management clinic that week. They did trigger point injections on me. And they also, because of my bipolar disorder, they recommended a muscle relaxer that had a very good record of not interfering with my mental illness. So I took that and I did great. It started working. All of these treatments started working immediately. The nerve pain medication, the weekly trigger point injections, and physical therapy. But I had already set up, because I was so desperate when I was in so much pain, I had already set up a consult with a neurosurgeon the following May. And so my mom and I went and met with him, and he was great. And he said he could do a fusion. It was right on the verge of needing to be fused. But he said I would lose mobility and there were some risks involved. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of surgery anyway, but we talk about having surgery on your spine, and I'm like even less interested. So I'm like, let's just hold off and see how I do, because I'm doing better. I am doing better. Let's just see how I do. And so I held off. I kept continuing to do physical therapy. Then that ran out, and I really didn't feel like I needed any more of it. So I've maintained with my current pain management clinic the same routine. I'm on the same nerve pain medication. I do trigger point injections once a week for 6 weeks. I take a week off and then I restart. And I've been doing this. And then last year, I actually started incorporating Botox injections every like 90 something days, because it has to be spread out. And no, they're not for my beautiful wrinkles here. It's for my neck pain. So I started doing the Botox injections on top of the pain management. And my life has totally shifted around as far as my pain is concerned. I booked a trip yesterday to Florida to go visit my uncle. And I didn't even think about my neck pain. That's how great it's been. Like, I don't even think about it anymore. I mean, I have my days, I have some things, but I don't even think about it anymore. And so kind of what sparked this topic that I wanted to discuss today is how chronic pain, so let me just lay it out like this. Chronic pain in and of itself can very much resemble mental illnesses, certain ones, for sure. And if you have a mental illness already established, and then chronic pain on top of that, it's even more difficult to discern between what is chronic pain, residue, I don't know how to say it, what's like residual of chronic pain, or what's your bipolar disorder in my case. Because note, mind you, I was diagnosed with my bipolar disorder in 2015, and I didn't get my neck well in hand until like 4 years ago. So I didn't realize when my pain got managed how much it was still affecting my clarity of thinking until it got under control. Now, I am somebody that has dealt with chronic pain for pretty much every decade except for the first decade. 0 to 10 years old, I was fine. But at 13 years old, both of my jaw joints fell apart due to severe TMJ. And I ended up having 7 jaw surgeries from 02 to 07. So chronic pain I dealt with from the age of 13 pretty much until my 40s, because I had that whole fiasco from 13 up. And then in my 20s, I had those surgeries, which, I mean, I was dealing with, I didn't have my last surgery until 07. I was almost 26 when I had that surgery. I lived with the chronic jaw pain for 13 years. Crazy making. Absolutely crazy making pain. I can't even begin to explain to you how crazy making that pain was. Then I had all these jaw surgeries, and then my last jaw surgery, took me about a year to recover from. It was exhausting. It was my left jaw joint. It had been gone into 4 times. I had to have a custom implant made because nothing else would stay in place. Everything kept like falling apart and getting loose, and it was And so finally, when I started getting on the healing path from that, I started experiencing what it was like to have like normal, like being able to, my mobility is lessened with my jaw surgeries. Like even eating a banana can be tough. Like it's just my opening is limited. But I would absolutely sacrifice. I would do it again. I would sacrifice the mobility that I had to be able to have less pain in my life. So, but then after that, then I hurt my neck, and I had this bipolar diagnosis. All of this stuff happened at once. Really, my 40s has been my best decade since I was like preteen. Like it's very hard to explain. So I've dealt with chronic pain for many, many, many years of my life. But like I said, I didn't realize how much it was still affecting me until I got my neck pain really well managed. And I wanted to share this article with you. That's why I did this screen share. And I know I'm being long-winded, but it's such an important topic to talk about what chronic pain can do to your mental status. So I found this article, and it's called Chronic Pain and Mental Health, and I will absolutely link this to the description below, so you can go and read it for yourself. But I wanted to at least read. Oh, my mouse is doing weird stuff. I've had this happen before, and I don't know if I'm hitting a button or not. Let's see. So pain that typically lasts less than 3 to 6 months is called acute pain, which is the form of pain most of us experience. I'm having more of that now with my shoulder than chronic pain. I injured my shoulder in February. It's still a problem. I'm just trying to kind of ride it out for my own personal reasons. I don't think I need to have a procedure done on it quite yet. But I would consider my shoulder acute pain. Excuse me, I'm getting dry. Let me have a swig of this. Here we go. For some people, pain can be ongoing or go away and then come back, lasting beyond the usual course of 3 to 6 months and negatively affecting a person's well-being. This is called chronic pain or persistent pain. Like I said before with my jaw, 13 to like, I wasn't healed by the time I was 26 or 27. It took a couple years after that to really fall into place. I'll just say 13 to 30. I dealt with my jaw pain, and I still have trouble with it now. Storm systems. I know I have arthritis in my jaw, but a storm system will move in or out. Spring is tough because it'll snow, and then it'll be 70, and it'll be windy, and then it'll be snowing again, and I really feel that in my jaw. But that I can live with. That's like nothing to me compared to what it was. I can deal with that. Put simply, chronic pain is or persistent pain is pain that continues when it should not. Chronic pain is often associated with other health conditions such as anxiety and depression, resulting in low health-related quality of life. Wow, is that so true? Like, I know that with bipolar disorder comes anxiety and depression, right? That's part of my diagnosis. Here, let me up this. Anxiety and depression is part of my diagnosis. I know this about myself. But when my neck started getting better, some of that, like I would say 50% or more of the depression and anxiety that I was having during those times was related to my neck, and I had no idea until it got better. Like, it's hard to explain. Yeah, I still have anxiety and I still struggle with depression and all of that. That's just my journey with my mental illness. But the amount of it is lessened with getting this chronic pain under control. It's amazing. It's almost like I see it as a mental illness in and of itself, chronic pain, because it's crazy making pain. And at least for me it was. It's like I've got two different associations with how I was mentally coping, and now without the pain is just totally different than with it. So it feels like there's an added element, and I just thought that was something really interesting to discuss here. Living with daily pain is physically and emotionally stressful. Chronic stress is known to change the levels of stress hormones. this is very scientific. We don't really have to get into it, but it says these can affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Oh my gosh. When you are in chronic pain, it is hard to think straight. And when you are struggling with a bipolar, I'm not going to say manic episode at this point because I don't have those anymore, but when I'm struggling with a bipolar low, let me get the mouse out of the way, or a bipolar high, I too have trouble thinking clearly in those moments. So it's like there are elements of mental illness that is directly accompanied with chronic pain. And I think it's really, really fascinating when you think about some of the ways that they can kind of cross over. It is also common for people with chronic pain to have sleep disturbances, fatigue, trouble concentrating, decreased appetite, and mood changes. I can have that without pain. So you add pain into it, and it's like being overloaded. It can result in depression and anxiety. It's just incredible to me. Like, I didn't even think about this. I think maybe in part of the reason why it's taken me so long to even have this conversation. So I was having a conversation with this medical assistant, the MA, at my pain management office the other day, and I'm telling her, I'm not even thinking about my neck. I'm booking trips. I've got plans. I'm looking forward. I can drive my car. At one point, my neck was so bad, my mom came over and unloaded and loaded my dishwasher because I could not physically move. And so she and I were just talking about the contrast to how I was 4 or 5 years ago to how my life is now. And I'm so much more free because the pain is under control and managed. And I won't go through this entire article, but I just thought some of this was really fascinating. They do mention some of the most common chronic pain conditions. These don't apply to me, except for maybe some of the arthritis in here due to my joint surgeries now at this stage in my life. But I've never had these other things: fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis. I know some people with multiple sclerosis who just, I don't even know how they do it. And I understand that there are far more chronic pain, health issues that cannot be as well managed as my own. And I feel very fortunate in that way because I don't know how you just know you're going to live the rest of your life with some of these that I just can't even begin. The back and neck pain, that's me. I'm right here. And then you can add the jaw pain into that, from time to time. But mostly in my latter years, it's been the back and neck pain. Migraines, if I get those, it's due to my jaw. Never had menstruation-related pain. That's never been really chronic for me. And then it lists ways of how you can get help for both chronic pain and mental health due to chronic pain. So definitely reach out, and if that's something that you need, look into it. I just thought that this was something worth talking about because I can't believe that I really didn't discuss this before now, because chronic pain is something that I am very intimate with. I've known it since I was 13. And yeah, it's been in different areas of my body. It's usually up here somewhere, but I cannot believe how much my life has changed. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's because I advocated for myself. I was not getting the help from the clinic that I was going to before. They were not helping me at all. And then it started getting to be where when I would go and I would be in their waiting room, they would have a security guard in their waiting room because there were so many people, I think patients of that office, who were addicted to heavy pain meds. We're talking opioids and controlled substances. And I refuse to do those. I'm just going to tell you right now, if they work for you, that's one thing to talk about, but they don't work for me. And the only time because when I was having my jaw surgeries, the only time that Vicodin and Percocet and any of that stuff helped, this is my association with it, let me tell you, because they gave me, back when I was in high school, there wasn't really any restrictions on opioids because they weren't it wasn't as big of an epidemic as it is now with the abuse of them. So I was given Vicodin to take in high school. My mom would always get on me for not taking it. And I would try it, for a few, and then it didn't help my pain. All it did was make me care a little less about the pain. It made it hard to concentrate. I was still hurting. It changed my mind about how I felt about the pain, but it didn't actually target the problem of the pain. Now, I will say that for me, the circumstance in which that worked the best was post-surgery. I mean, from the minute you get out of the operating room for about 5 to 7 days after, I needed to not care about that pain. That pain, I needed to be distracted from it because it was so horribly intense. For my first surgery, I had bite surgery. I was on a morphine pump in the hospital, which I'm so glad you can't just buy those at Walgreens because, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I had bruises. Both of my eyes were black. I had a huge bruise here. I looked like I weighed like 3 times more than I actually do because my face was so swollen. Like I looked like I got hit in the face with a bus. And that kind of pain, oh my gosh. I needed the morphine pump. I needed to just sleep through that entire recovery until they were able to send me home, which was about, I think they sent me home about 24 or 48 hours later. It wasn't a long stay. And then I got home. And yes, I did the Vicodins or the Percocets or whatever they told me. I did it every, whatever it is, 4 to 6 hours. I did it by the book, and I went with it until I ran out of it. And I didn't ask for any more, typically, because by then it was a pain that I was like, okay, in order for me to know if this procedure actually worked, I need to be able to address this with a clear mind. Now, mind you, I had bipolar disorder back then, but this was still my way of thinking. I think I was very smart to think that way back then. Like, okay, the surgery pain is wearing off. Let's see what the new life is going to be like with this new, recovery. And in order to know what you need moving forward and in order to know what to talk to doctors about, you need to know what you are with like no drugs on board. That's just me because that's how I work. I'm like, I need to know how I feel so I know what to say about how I feel. And when I went to this pain management clinic, I told him, I said, I do not want like hardcore stuff. It doesn't do anything. I don't want it for this because this seems like an injury that's going to last me my whole life. And I really don't want surgery on it if I can help it because that just freaks me out. Don't touch my spine. I don't want to go there if I don't have to. And my routine and the people that are on my like pain management team, we have this well in hand. And I am perfectly fine continuing going like this because it is going really, really well. Now, I'm hopeful that I can get some more years in my 40s without chronic pain, but life ain't getting easier. I ain't getting younger. And I'm more cautious now. Like when I ride my electric scooter last year, I was kind of being bold and stuff, but ever since I hurt my shoulder, I'm like, I'm going to take it easy because now I know that if I injure myself, it's not a matter of doing this and recovering. Now it's going to be permanent. It's going to follow me until I'm an old lady and die because that's the age I'm at now. Is like if I hurt myself, it could be a permanent injury. And because I know that about my neck, you live and you learn, But I want every one of you to know that if you are dealing with acute or chronic or persistent pain, please know that I've been there in my own unique way. I've been very fortunate and lucky to have found the resources that have really helped me, like seriously helped me, where my life isn't dictated by how I feel with my neck pain and my jaw pain. I advocated for myself. Like I said, I looked it up. I said such and such pain management clinics near me that take my insurance. And I can't believe it was the first one I went to, and I've been going to them ever since. And I'm so happy with my progress, and I know that they are too. And it's just a matter of time, like just every day, just kind of do what I can every day. My shoulder, I'm giving it more time. this uncle that I'm actually going to go visit next month, he was an orthopedic surgeon. I'm going to talk to him about it first and get his he's a very smart, sharp man. I want to get his impression of it first, because I know I talked to my pain management gal yesterday, and she did say that, there are benefits to waiting for an injury like this, to have like a surgical procedure done, because this is a tear. I mean, I don't think it's going to completely fully heal itself, and I'm going to have to be careful. But she said if I had a surgical procedure done on it now, because of my age and my activity, there is a better chance of re-injury, which I never thought of before, but she's absolutely right. And also knowing that with anything like my jaw, or what was the risk with my neck, about losing mobility, that's also something. So it might be better to wait and see if I can live with it. Right now, it's not really bothering me that much. I don't think it's anything that a couple of, ibuprofen or something can't help me tolerate here and there, and then address it, if and when the time comes for that. So, but I just wanted you all to know that mental illness, chronic pain, because I have mental illness, and I can tell you how it feels to live with the symptoms of mental illness, and I've had chronic pain, as far as their severity, they're very, very similar to one another. And I just hope and pray that you can find some relief with your chronic pain or your persistent pain, because that by itself is hard enough. But if you have mental illness and then you've got that slammed into you also, it's just a whole nother, it's like a beast. It's like a beast on top of another beast. And so being able to manage it as best you can is just a huge thing. So I just really hope that you can find what you need. And I am not a resource. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody, bipolar, person who enjoys astrophotography and making YouTube videos about space and wellness. Like, I'm a nobody. But if you would like somebody to help advocate for you, I am more than happy to do that. So you are more than welcome to write me at thebipolarastrographer@gmail.com. I will absolutely help you do that 100% to the best of my ability. But yeah, I just thought I'd get on here and talk about that, because it's an interesting topic. And we are going to start getting busy, I think, with getting this stuff into the dome. And so it's going to kind of break up some of the discussions between mental illness and space. I wanted to shoot the last couple of nights, and I would have, because it was clear, but it was so windy the last couple of nights, and the seeing was extremely poor, and it just didn't seem worth it to open everything up. But we've got other stuff going on. We're going to get a fence built to help keep our boundaries safe from, all our boundaries safe, so we can still be good neighbors to one another. So some things are coming, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to get on here and talk about this. And I will link this into the description of this video. The title of this video is called Chronic Pain and Mental Health, and it's from Mental Health America, MHAnational.org. So yeah, I will be sure and link that in the description below. But just thought I'd do something a little bit different today. But yeah, chronic pain. That in and of itself, I'm no doctor, but that could be mental illness. I mean, like that can be up there with the symptoms of just daily mental illness, the way that you have to navigate chronic pain. I would actually say in some ways it's harder, because you can't get your pain under control. At least with mental illness, there are some therapies that are, very reputable to help you kind of balance out. But when you're dealing with chronic pain and you can't get a handle on it, it's maddening. And I have been there. I've been there fairly recently, so just wanted you to kind of hear it from somebody who's experienced both bipolar disorder and chronic pain, the double whammy that has about it. So you are not you are not alone in that, is what I'm saying, because I have been there, and I expect to be there again at some point in my life. I don't think chronic pain is over for me. I manage what I can, but I think other things are definitely going to come my way, and I'm going to have to learn how to navigate through that. And it can change your mind. Excuse me. It can change the way you think. And that can be really tough. So, all right. Well, I think that's enough for today. I had another hummingbird last night. I refilled my feeder today because the wind blew it around and it leaked everywhere. So I'm getting hummingbirds more often, and the sun is shining today, less wind, and we're supposed to get some rain, but things are getting greener. Life is looking a little bit brighter. But just wanted to put this one out there for today, and I think that's all. And as soon as we start going on this stuff, I'll be videoing it. So stay tuned for more. Okay, self-care isn't selfish. Bye now.